I have started the sock for sock week and got to almost the toe before I realized that it was not going to fit properly at all. So now I have a decision to make. Do I frog it and start over, or do I keep going and finish it so that I have a finished sock for sock week? I'm going to get into all of that in just a little bit, but first I have a finished object. Welcome, my name is Emily and this is my channel Knitting Out Loud, where I talk about all the things I have been making. I have finally finished my soft current tee, which I've been working on for about 7 weeks. I started it on May 12th and I finished it on July 4th. So that was 53 days that it took me to finish making this. So I'm thrilled to have it off the needles and as a wearable garment. There are a few final adjustments that I need to make before it fits me the way that I would love for it to, but overall I'm very happy with this. So the last few tweaks that I have to make are to seam up the armholes a little bit. They're just a little bit lower. They show my bra a little bit, so I can just mattress stitch those up on both sides just a little bit. And then also it has an I-cord edging around it, and whenever I blocked it, I did not pin it out. I just laid it out on the mats and let it dry. So it's curling under and you aren't able to see that I-cord border. It just looks like it's rolling down. So I'm hoping that if I block it one more time and pin out the armholes, that I won't have that issue anymore. And then I think that I need to still clean up this join a little bit here. There's something kind of funky happening there, but overall it looks great. I'm happy with where the V-neck hits me. I'm happy with the length. I love the lace panel, and it's also fully laced on the back. I'll try to film some B-roll over here that might show that off a little bit better. And it doesn't feel too revealing. This is all lace, but I just have a normal like skin colored bra on underneath of it. And I would say that it's pretty bra friendly actually, even just as long as you're wearing something skin toned. I had a little bit of a rocky start with this pattern, but that just was me adjusting to working a lace panel for the first time in a while and navigating the increases, etc. on the shoulders at the beginning. But as soon as I got into a good flow with that, I really ended up enjoying it. And I actually ended up going to Ohio unexpectedly at the beginning of July. And at the time that I left, I only had a few inches left on the body, maybe 3 or 4 pattern repeats plus the ribbing. So I was close, and I couldn't decide if I was going to bring it with me on my trip because that was a lot of yarn space. If you've ever taken your knitting with you on a trip, you know what I'm talking about. You have to really try to get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to suitcase space and knitting time and all the things. So I did end up deciding to take it with me because I did not want to come back to this as a whip. I was ready to get it finished. So I knew that I would finish it pretty early on in my trip, and I did. I ended up wrapping it up on July 4th, but I was happy with that decision. It was definitely the right move. And I also have a full skein of the yarn left. So this, I guess I should have mentioned, is a pattern by Wool and Pine Designs, and the yarn is by Yarn Nouveau in their Bliss Sock Base, the color Seaside. This was the recommended yarn and the colorway that they used for the sample in the pattern. It's my first time doing that. I made a size 3 and knit this on US 4. Very quickly, I do have a second finished object that are these baby socks. These are the Littles pattern by Kayla Litton, the Crazy Sock Lady, and I made the 3 to 6 month size on US size 1 magic loop, just with some scrap yarn, mystery yarn scraps. I think that this is hazelnuts, but cannot confirm. Start to finish, I think this took me 3 days to make. I started these on June 23rd and finished them June 26th. I did not have a normal project update last week. I did my first half check-in, and I missed a week of my normal project update. So I have some catching up to do today. I have 2 whips to show today, starting with my sock week sock dilemma. So I have these in a bag by All Knit Up Designs. Cute little ice cream sprinkle bag, fun for summer. The yarn that I'm using is from Slam Fiber Co. It is the Garden Party sock set. This was one of the special sock week yarn collaborations. If you are not familiar with Sock Week, it is a week-long knit-along hosted by Natalie, also known as Nitty Natty. The goal is to make 1 sock start to finish within the week. And if you make more than that, great, but that's the plan. I have a little one playing in the background, so you might hear some noise. Okay, so I made the Vanilla is the New Black sock, or that's what I'm working on. And this was my first time making this pattern, and I learned about this pattern from Nitty Natty's podcast. So I thought that it would be perfect to make it for the first time during Sock Week with my Sock Week yarn. So that was the plan. All great and wonderful, right? I did adjust the ribbing for this sock. I did a twisted rib. I did that recently on another pair of socks and really liked the way that it looked, so I decided to do it for this one. Now comes the dilemma. I started this sock just according to the pattern and went along. Was really focused on making the heel and not really paying attention until I got to almost the toe and noticed that it was looking really big, really wide. And I thought that it was just because it didn't have like a traditional gusset like I normally do. But I decided last night to try it on, and it's really baggy. So I could have it be a slouchy sock, which I'm okay with, but even the foot area is really loose, and I'm so far through the foot that decreasing at this point wouldn't do much because I need it to fit better like under the arch, or whatever that's, I don't know what the proper foot terminology is, but like this part of my foot is very loose along with the leg. And so I went back and tried to figure out where I went wrong, and I realized that this pattern is knit on US 1.5, which without thinking I did. Yeah, US 1.5, and typically I make all of my socks on a US 1. So I'm making these on a bigger needle size, and I did not adjust my stitch count down, which looking back, I should have just either used my normal US 1, or if I was going to use the 1.5, gone down a size. And so I don't know. Part of me wants to just finish it off because I'm so close and then I could have a finished sock for Sock Week. But that also seems kind of silly just to finish a sock for a make along that I know isn't going to fit because it's the fun thing to do. So I think that I know that the right answer is to start over. But the fun answer is to just finish it and then maybe do the second one and test it more along the way. I typically make my socks on 9-inch circulars too, so I just moved it over to a magic loop temporarily so I could try it on. So I could finish this sock for Sock Week and then test out the fit a little more on the second one and really adjust it so that it fits me best as I go, and then eventually come back and frog this and redo it. I don't know. Or do I just rip it back and start over? What do you think I should do? What would you do if this were you? I'm so bummed. So I need your advice. Please tell me what you think I should do. And I guess I will let you know next week what I decide. All right, and my last whip to show you for the day is in a bag by Oh Wow Amsterdam. I love this bag so much. Maybe if I can figure out how to open it. Jeez Louise. Okay. And I am making the Tolsta Tank. This is a pattern by Gravea, I think. Rebecca Clow. And I have gotten quite a bit done. This was another one of the projects that I took with me on my trip because I knew that it would be a lot of vanilla knitting and I could get it on the needles quickly. The yarn for this is by Euphoria Fibers. It is from my local yarn store, which is Seattle Yarn, and it is their indie dyed brand of yarn. It is the Honor Roll Sock Base, which is 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. It is a 4-ply yarn, and the colorway is Ice Cream Castles. This is my first time making a pattern by this designer, but I believe that all of her patterns come with essentially 4+ patterns in one. So for example, this pattern comes with a camisole variation, a vest variation, and then what I'm making, which is the high neck variation. So it will be, I have a ribbed section along here and then 2 ribbed straps. And then it also, for each of those variations, came in a DK option or a 4-ply option, which is what I'm doing. And even more, has the options for bust darts depending on your bust size. So I just think that that's really amazing for all of that to be offered in one pattern. So it's definitely something that I can see myself making again, which isn't really something that I say super often, especially when it comes to garments. But you could make this into a ton of different variations, different weights, all sorts of things. So here is what I've got so far. I again did a twisted rib modification on the bottom. I'm just loving the way that that is looking right now, and it's fun to work up. So that's what I decided to do for the bottom. And then I have several inches of the body done. I still have several inches to go. I think I need to get to 13 inches total before I'm ready to split off. But this has been awesome. Just step back into vanilla knitting time. It was perfect for packing in my bag and traveling. I ended up working on it the entire flight back, which was a 4-hour flight, and got through all the ribbing in like an inch of body within that time. So that was great. Those are all my projects to show today. I hope that you are having a great week and working on something that you enjoy, and I will see you next time.